You don't know me, I probably don't know you. Some of you know me, and I know some of you. But who am I? I'm a man born in 1968 on a hill overlooking central London. My earliest memory is being pushed up one of those hills at the age of 3 weeks. How do I know this? Because many years later, I spoke with my mum about it for the first time. She was amazed that I ever remembered that because I was so young. What happened? I took in my first view through the canopy of that pram, blue sky, clouds, and something emanating from me that I believed was going up to form those clouds, i.e., my breath, my first memory. And with it came a face that came into view, shortly followed by an arm. And as the arm reached into the pram to pull down a cashmere blanket covering my face to shield me from the biting winter cold, as she pulled it down, her face changed, and she contorted as if she'd seen the most disgusting, ugliest thing ever. She did not like what she saw. A lady in her middle years staring at me in disgust. Why was this woman staring at me in disgust? I know today that it's because I have a cleft lip and palate. And at 3 weeks old, it's not repaired. At around 6 months of age, cleft lip children get taken to a hospital, hopefully, a lot of children don't, and they have it stitched up, and it becomes what we have here. You can make out the scar. I know I can, and you can see how it affects my top lip and how it moves around. And whereas you take it for granted that you may be able to smile if you're what's called a normal, I had to learn how to speak, learn how to use my mouth, use my top lip, form letters, form words. It was tough. Going back to that moment, what happened in that moment when that woman did that to me? A voice spoke to me, who I refer to as the voice, and it said, "You're here to change that." The look on that woman's face was the reason I am here, to change that. What happened after that? Another arm came in and swept her aside. She was removed from my view, the window, if you like, of my view. There were some tones and some sort of argument going on, and I believe that that woman that I could not see, who was out of shot now with the woman who looked at me in disgust, I believe the woman who pushed her away and said, "Hold on a second, what are you doing?" and was in essentially protection mode, was my mum. Now I couldn't understand anything that's being said. This is the most bizarre part of the story, is that the two women were speaking, but I had no understanding of what they were saying. I couldn't even hear. But yet I heard a voice tell me that I'm here to change that. I carried that voice for my entire life, right up to today, and there's not a day that's gone by where I haven't thought about that voice and what it asked me to do. It's taken me on an amazing journey. It's led me to a place where I believe it is fundamentally, intrinsically connected to what's happening to us as human beings on the planet today. It's all about having a voice. It's about having our voice removed, having a narrative dumped on us, and being hypnotized by that narrative through media, being controlled through a banking system that doesn't work, being abused by people that are hypocritical and have one rule for themselves and one rule for another. We are subjected to division through racism, through religion, through sex, through sexual preference, even through the way we look. Yes, through our differences. We might have some form of skin problem. We may have a missing leg. We may have been put in a wheelchair. We may have been born without limbs, for instance. We may actually only live on a bed and cannot move and are just, according to the system, alive as far as the brain is concerned. What does all this mean? There are prejudices. There are prejudices, and there is a system at work that denies everybody equal opportunity and equal care and attention and love. My opinion is, and I've arrived at it through a 52-year journey being obedient to the voice to find out what am I going to do to change that, who is going to empower me to do that, and what do I need and who do I need it from to be able to get there. It's led me ultimately to a project called Gugu. Inside Gugu, there are three elements. There is me, there is Gugu, which is the name of the project, and there is the voice. The voice is you, me, the narrative, the voice that we would hope is in place to represent us all. And inside Gugu, the project is Gugu's Charter, which is a model that I developed with the help of the voice and you, the people. I developed it because there is an absolute need for it, and nobody seems to be aware of this. And I'm going to show you how I became aware of it and why I think it's vitally important for the future of humankind. Basic needs is a birthright, not a privilege. This is essentially what Gugu's Charter is. It's a model that says basic needs are a birthright, not a privilege. At the moment, basic needs are a privilege for far too many on planet Earth. And it has to change because it's an unfair system that does not represent us all. And you can argue and fight amongst yourselves about your left and your right and your politics and your belief systems. You can do that all day long. I've had enough of listening to that narrative. I switched off the mainstream media a long time ago. I've been very skeptical of those that come through the media channels and offer their opinions as if somehow they're representative of the majority when they're actually not. I've seen it all. I've been put into the places of the high and mighty, and I've turned down their offers to sell my soul. I've been into the lowest depths of humanity in terms of poverty. I've suffered as a child, as an adult. I've been depressed. I've had problems mentally dealing with the problems that exist in the world, both from an internal perspective and from an external perspective. I have watched others suffer. I listen as people in the world clap for the demise of their humanity, and they look forward to it. They are oblivious to the fact that they stand on a podium and shout for rights in one area whilst diminishing the rights of others in another. There are opinions. Everybody has them. But this doesn't mean just because they offend me that they are not entitled to have their opinion. Everybody is entitled to have an opinion. Everybody is entitled to do as they please. As long as they're not hurting anyone, damaging anyone, causing anyone problems, that's okay by me. Why is basic needs so important to this? Basic needs is the building block of self-worth, existing as a part of this world rather than apart from this world. Maslow, in his hierarchy of needs paper, the motivational theory, which he wrote in much depth in 1954, said that there are various levels up through a pyramid, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that on the bottom, on the largest section, is basic needs. Because without basic needs, we can't climb up through the pyramid until we reach the pinnacle of that pyramid, which is self-actualization. Now, I believe that the model and the narrative and the system in play at the moment is designed to restrict us from our basic needs as a majority population. You can see it in the way the banks act by their free run on being allowed to create debt at our expense, the taxpayer, how they get richer when they fail. You can see it in the narrative of the politics when you can't trust the left, you can't trust the right. When the people that are supposed to represent us in positions of power politically turn a blind eye to anything we want. We march upon the streets to tell them we don't want to go to war and they ignore us. They create laws to silence us so that we can't challenge their decisions to change laws to restrict and control us. They manage us as if we are stupid. They openly say that we are stupid. The system tells us what it's doing to us. It's blasé about the way it treats us, the human race. It treats us in a way where we are held in contempt, as if somehow our cries to have a fairer, more just society are unfounded. That we should be quiet little people, play the system, go to work, do your job, pay your taxes. And if you can't get to work and do your job and pay your taxes, it's your fault. It's not ours. This is the system's narrative, and it's everywhere. If you go to get healthcare in a system where it's free, you're somehow led to believe that you are meant to be overtly grateful for sitting around for 6, 7, 8 hours in a room waiting with other people desperate to seek medical care and attention. We're lied to about drugs, told that they are there to assist us, when actually they're just pushed down from the big pharmas through to the hospitals and the GPs and on to us through vaccines, just because they want to sell more stuff. We're told that drugs are illegal, that we're not allowed to touch them, and quite rightly so, as far as I'm concerned in some respects. But yet they sell drugs. Yet they have wars over heroin, and then they put it into drugs. And who are they? They, the people that control the narrative, because it's all one big connected family. Make no mistake, we are under attack. The human race is under attack from within. Who are they? We could say it's the people that have all the power, run the multinational companies, the big tech companies, the social media sites, the people that run the TV channels, and everybody that decides the narrative. At the top, there may be some people that run those situations and make those decisions. Of course, there are the groups that you can look up. They exist. Council of Foreign Relations, International Monetary Fund, the Bilderberg Group. You can look at ways that they have used to manipulate and control us. Operation Mockingbird, Paperclip. There are many clues if you look as to how we have been systematically driven into a voiceless society. And it's not long before it is complete. The mission to silence the human race in favour of Satanists. Because it cannot be anything else, can it? Let's look at the evidence. Can a bunch of people really be that megalomaniac that they could sit down and decide that they want to systematically rape us of our rights and our privileges to Mother Earth, to our spiritual connection to each other, to our beautiful existence of life, where we are able to coexist on a planet which provides us with all the resources we need to survive. We will survive without social media. We will survive without TV programs telling us what to say and what not to say, and where to go and what not to do. We will survive. The human race will outlive anyone that thinks what they do or say can control it. You cannot control it. I cannot control it. Human nature will always win. So why are we not working in conjunction and in a marriage with it? Because we are being fed lies. We are being told that we are in the hands of people that know better than us. Well, you don't. We do not belong to you. I don't belong to you, you don't belong to me, and nobody has a say over anyone else that is greater than the other. When it comes down to our relationship with nature, it's not about global warming, it's not about who has more in the bank and who has less, and about who has the power and who can sit in a palace and lord it over us. It's not about whether you have a voice because you've decided that your bank account is big enough to give you one. It's not about that. Our relationship with each other is based on first being taken care of, being looked after. And basic needs is the first stage of that. Without basic needs, you are not going to climb up into the next rung, which is about being esteemed, having a sense of being a part of your community, being loved, being able to love. All of these elements to do with basic needs are vital for the human race to get a grip on. Because ultimately, when we arrive at that position of self-actualization as a family, we will be in heaven. Mark my words, Heaven is here right now. This is a spiritual war we are faced with. What is happening out there in the world with people deciding who gets to speak and who doesn't, and you know who they are. What is happening out there is they are removing us from our connection to planet Earth, to Mother Earth, and to each other. They are trying to literally cover up our faces. They want us to wear masks. They don't even want us to see each other, let alone look at each other, acknowledge each other, value each other. They want to cover us up and keep us covered. Why? Because they are just like that woman who stared into that pram to me when I was 3 weeks old. And when she looked at me in disgust and she wanted me gone, covered back up, it's no different from today. And that's who they are. And that's what I was brought here to change. As the voice said, you're here to change that. And that's what I'm doing here. I'm putting this message out to you because I'm letting you know that if you want a way out of what's happening in the world, of the madness, come through me. Because I'm showing you the way, because I know, because I've been on the journey, and I'm going to unfold that journey. I'm not going to tell you, I'm not going to dictate to you. I'm going to do my best to try and stay level-headed along the way. I'm going to show you what happened to me. I'm going to show you what I see as a result of being obedient to this voice, as it carried me through my life and kept me alive and kept me in places when I was not meant to be there, and got me out of places when I was not meant to be there. I'm going to show you what I've seen, because I've seen a lot, and I know you have too. And I know that this race is coming to its final stages, and I'm not going to lose. So if you're a winner as well and you're going to come on this journey, we're going to have to do this together. So please do what you have to do. Whatever platform I'm coming to you by, please take this seriously. Anybody who sleeps through this is a problem now. So if you are one of these people that doesn't think what's happening in the world and the world system isn't affecting us all as a unit, then you're part of the problem, and you need to really have a look at yourself. And if you're not, if you're one of those people that are awake and you're aware of what's going on, and you're confused with the narrative, you're frustrated with it, you're coming up against it in your daily lives, you feel like you're on your own. Well, you're not. You are not on your own. I am not on my own. I know. I have watched people come into this line of thinking. We are out there. They're just trying to stop us from getting to each other. Well, it's not going to work, is it? Why? Because they can't stop us the way we think. They can't stop us making decisions. They can't stop us speaking. But trust me, they're doing their best, and they're trying their hardest to do exactly that. Don't let the system take away our voice. As soon as they do that, we're done. And I'm telling you, it ain't no joke. Get yourselves organised, get yourselves together, and start talking about this. Start talking about this to people that are not awake, and tell them they are part of the problem. If you do not assign to a world where we are treated fairly and equally, you are part of the problem. So you need to address yourself. That's the message. And if they want a place to go when they decide that they do want to be a part of, bring them here. Because if you do, just like I do, and just like others are starting to realise that we need to get onto this quickly, then you'll also realise that you too are a goo-gooer. And this is where the term goo-gooer comes from. It's a person that believes in change. It's a person that believes we can do this. A person that is under the covers with their face being exposed. You're not the problem. Don't let anyone ever tell you you're the problem. You're not. We are not the problem. Those that look into our world and look at us with disgust, they are the problem. And we're here to change that. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being you. Thanks for sharing your voice. Thanks for hearing my voice. And thanks for being a we, because it's together we are going to change that. This is the sound of Goo Goo, and welcome to The Voice.